everybody, in today's video I'm going to be doing 4 different spreads for the concept photos for the 4 different versions of Map of the Soul 7. So for version 1, these photos are pretty simple. They're just black and white, and then there's this giant gaping hole in the floor. Oh, and you might realize that the video looks really dark, and that's because when I first started filming this I forgot to turn on my lights, and that's why it looks like that. Sorry. So my first idea was just to do this giant hole in my spread, like that resembled the hole in the floor. And I started coloring it all in black, and then I realized that a lot of parts of it aren't going to be showing because there are going to be photos covering it. So I didn't think it was necessary to cover the whole thing. If you're wondering why I just stopped mid coloring, I decided that I would just color where I knew the hole would be exposed and then go back in later and fill in other spots after I pasted all of the photos in. This was really the main design element idea that I had for this particular spread because, like I said, these photos are pretty simple. There's not a lot of colors in them or anything like that to add a lot of detail to the spread. So I thought that it would be best to just have sort of like a simple minimalistic spread going on that just really focused on the photos themselves. As I mentioned in my Pentagon video and my Dreamcatcher concept photos video, that I did not leave a lot of space for writing because in these concept photo spreads I really want the focus to be on the photos, and I want the photos to be able to be big and not like teeny tiny. So I did leave some room for writing on each one, but not a lot. So if you're wondering why I like barely wrote 2 sentences, I just really wanted to focus on the photos themselves for these spreads. So since the rest of the spread was pretty minimalistic and simple, I really wanted the lettering to kind of stand out and spend a little bit more time on that. So I did this faux calligraphy, which you've seen me do before, and I decided to go with a gradient, which because of the hue of these photos, I actually got to use my warm grays, which I don't think I've ever used my warm gray markers, literally ever. So that was kind of nice to actually put them to some use. Alright, so moving on to version 2. These photos are my absolute favorite. I am obsessed with these photos. I am obsessed with any concept that has to do with wings, any characters that have to do with wings. It's always been a thing for me. When I used to write like some OC kind of stories, my main characters always had some form of wings. I just love wings. Like, it's just a thing. I don't know why. So when I saw these photos, I literally lost my absolute mind. I am obsessed with them. And of course, there are more versions of these pictures, like not just the black and white ones, but I decided to go with the black and white ones. I just felt like they would work better with the kind of spread that I was going for. I wanted to do these like big cutouts of some of the pictures because I don't know, I just really, really wanted to display these pictures. I was super excited to do a spread with these. So I decided to do something a little bit different with my lettering for this one. I saw somebody do this I think for a Stray Kids spread, and they had like the lettering itself was white and the drop shadows were different colors. And I thought that was such a cool idea. And so I wanted to try that. I felt like it would work out for this spread. Of course, I didn't use different colors, but I made the lettering just white. I just kept it white, and then I did just solid black for the drop shadow. It's just a very different look, and I like it a lot. So I am pretty obsessed with how this spread turned out. I love it a lot. It's probably definitely one of my most favorite recent spreads. Of course, I love the photos, but I just love the setup of the spread as well. I like this sort of collage thing going on the right page. And yeah, I really like it a lot. So moving on to version 3. These photos are very like artsy. I think they're supposed to be sort of like a portrait almost. But the pictures themselves are really dark, so I actually had to lighten them a little bit before I printed them. Otherwise, they would have printed like completely shadowed. But I really wanted to bring out the bright colors that are sort of hidden in these photos. There are a lot of like fruits and stuff like that going on, and so I wanted to bring out those colors in the background to sort of contrast with the whole photo itself. And there's this one group, the group concept photo goes like across this table, and they're all sitting at this long table. It sort of reminds me of The Last Supper. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to look like or not, but I wanted that to go all the way across the bottom. I'm a really big fan of like cutting out pictures in that way, and so I definitely wanted to incorporate that in it when I'm given an opportunity. Also, I wanted there to be like a large photo of Tay on the right hand side of that group photo, but the one that I printed was too small. It just didn't look right, so I actually had to reprint one a little bit bigger. I'm not sure if when I was planning it I just didn't print it right, or if I had measured it wrong or what, but it's okay. I just reprinted it and we moved right along. So I really like this spread a lot. I like the contrast of the bright colors versus the dark photos a lot. I'm really glad I decided to go in that direction. And of course, I had to add some washi tape. So moving on to the final version is version 4. And these concept photos were very interesting to work with because they're like kind of split in different ways, and they're like just kind of shelved already into this like rectangle. And I really just didn't know what to do with them because the other photos, like everyone's in a different pose, and it's like, I don't know, these were hard for me to come up with how to showcase them in a spread. So I decided to just sort of piece them together and keep them whole and just make them different sizes because I don't know, I didn't want to split them up and I didn't want to change it. Like, I guess looking back on it, I probably could have been a little bit more creative with the way that I designed the spread, and I maybe could have used different parts of different sets of these photos, but I just wanted to keep the whole set together of each member and I didn't want to split it up. So I don't know, I just decided to keep them the way that they are, and I just used some scrapbook paper that matched the color scheme and just put it in the background. And this is a pretty easy, simple spread, but I still think it turned out pretty cute, and like it turned out very clean and put together, and I like that a lot. Also, I realized when I glued down this heart paper that I didn't get it placed right, and you can see the yellow at the top, and it really plagued me. I tried to decide if I could pull it off. I tried to decide if I could cover it up, and I just decided to leave it. It really bothers me to look at even now, but you know what? Sometimes we just have to let things go. So here is a look at all the final spreads. I am really happy with all of them, genuinely. Of course, I'm always really inspired by BTS. They're my old group and I love them a lot. So I was really excited to do these spreads, and I always feel good when I'm excited about a spread and it turns out really well. Like, it always stinks when you're excited about a spread and it just doesn't turn out the way that you envisioned it. But these all turned out really well. They definitely turned out how I envisioned them, and I had a lot of fun doing them. So if you like these spreads and you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!